And topping your headlines today, congressional Republicans continue to work to stop the Iran deal. Today, the House took 2 votes that will likely turn out to be just symbolic. The House shot down a resolution backing the Iran nuclear agreement with Iran. This was to show just how unpopular it is in Congress, but the vote doesn't actually do anything to stop it. It also comes just one day after Senate Democrats successfully blocked the resolution of disapproval with a filibuster. Also today, the House passed a bill that prevents President Obama from ending sanctions on Iran under the nuclear agreement. But that would have to pass the Senate and a presidential veto, so it's going nowhere. The failure of the Republican-led effort to kill the bill this week got this reaction from the White House today. And, okay, we'll try to go to that later. But let's talk about Senate Minority Leader Harry Reid. Now, some people have been questioning whether or not this is a clear victory. He says there's no question where Congress stands. Take a listen.
People around the world should know that today's outcome was clear, decisive, and final. There's now no doubt whatsoever that the Congress of the United States will allow this historic agreement to go forward.
And Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says not so fast. He isn't so sure.
What are you protecting him from? We'll have a chance next week. One more chance.
One more chance, but the clock is ticking. The deadline for the Senate to reject that deal is September 17th. If the Senate does not block the deal, President Obama again can start scaling back the economic sanctions on Iran. The agreement would be formally adopted later next month when the UN Security Council signs it.
All right, we'll see what they can do next week. Just 1 week left to go. Senators have drawn lines to either prevent or allow the deal. Of course, though, 42 Democratic senators voted to filibuster the disapproval resolution. But as Fred Fleitz writes, the Iran deal is not a victory for anyone. Fred's a senior vice president at the Center for Security Policy, and he's joining us now live. Fred, great to see you.
Hey, John.
Well, you point out that President Obama hasn't been able to sell this to the public. We've talked about the public approval numbers down around 20%. The administration didn't attempt to get congressional approval with a treaty, which would have made it a binding, much more of a consensus type of agreement here. You say those are real red flags that this is a bad deal. Tell us why.
Well, I've discussed on Newsmax how this program will legitimize the nuclear program of a rogue state, will actually shorten the timeline to an Iranian nuclear weapon, and Senator Menendez has said that, and it will give over $100 billion to Iran that it's likely to spend on terrorism. But, John, 21% of the American people support this. The reason it wasn't submitted as a treaty to Congress is because the American people reject it, because there's no chance of getting majority support in Congress. So I don't see this as much of a victory for the president.
Yeah, and I don't understand how the Corker-Cardin bill was even able to proceed ahead. That seems like some chicanery. Let's talk about something that Colin Powell said. If we can move ahead to that. Colin Powell was on Meet the Press this past weekend, and he kind of surprised everybody with this comment.
I've studied very carefully the outline of the deal and what's in that deal, and I've also carefully looked at the opposition to the deal, and my judgment after balancing those two sets of information is that it's a pretty good deal.
So this is Ronald Reagan's National Security Advisor, W. Secretary of State, and a former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. What's he missing here, Fred?
Well, John, I worked under Colin Powell and I worked for John Bolton, and here's my take on it. Powell is still sore over the erroneous intelligence for the Iraq War, and he's become a Democrat. He's come over to President Obama's side. I mean, I don't know any conservative experts who spoke to him, and frankly, I think he's so bitter over the Iraq War. I hate to say this, and I think he's an American hero, but he's just dead wrong about this, and I disregard his analysis.
And you say that this actually shortens the quote-unquote breakout time for Iran to get a nuclear bomb.
Indeed, it does. And that's why Senator Menendez, the New Jersey Democratic senator, said, you know, if we're going to have a good deal, we have to ban the development of advanced centrifuges. Iran is going to develop very advanced centrifuges. At the end of this, it's going to have an industrial-scale nuclear program capable of making dozens of nuclear bombs.
Very concerning indeed. One last question for you, Fred. We want to talk about this Daily Beast report that these 50 intelligence analysts at CENTCOM complained that these reports had been altered. These are the reports that President Obama uses when making decisions in fighting ISIS. Fred, do you expect, as some have called for, any resignations to come about from this?
I hope so, but my reaction is that all there is? How about politicization of Iran? How about politicization of what happened in Benghazi? I know this is going on, There has to be more whistleblowers going out there. There's a big division in this country on the Iran deal. Where are the intelligence analysts who objected to that?
Yeah, that's a great point, Fred. That's a great point.
We have to hear.
All right, Fred Fleitz, great to talk to you as always, and we'll check in with you soon, Fred. Thanks.
Good to be here.
All right, 9/11 prompts these Seattle teachers to put down their picket signs. See what they did instead to honor this day. And the Pentagon's push to open all jobs to women may get some pushback. Coming up next on Newsmax Now, why the results of a new study may add more fuel to an already heated debate. And Baltimore's mayor says she's calling it quits, why she says she won't run for re-election.